So, do you really need to spend $150 on a flagship tennis shoe? Well, I've got the New Balance 696 V4, which I spent $55 on today to find out. Hey everybody, it's Zach, Tennis Pro Doc, helping you improve your game with science. If you want to stay up to date on the latest tennis shoe gear from the perspective of a current foot doctor and former tennis pro, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell, that way you don't miss a thing. And today we're putting this bargain tennis shoe through the suicide test, serve test, and of course play test. And make sure you stay to the end because we are going to compare this shoe to some of the other Featherlight shoes on the market right now, which are quite a bit more expensive. Now the 696 is a lot like the 996, the only big difference is in the uppers. Now the 696 is a streamlined uppers, not a lot of frills. However, what it does have going for it is a really lightweight reinforcement throughout the entirety of the upper, which is insanely breathable and forgiving. Now the heel counter and ankle collar are pretty plush, but they are definitely not very stout. So if you are a chronic ankle sprainer, you're probably going to want to forget you saw this shoe. And if you look at the toe box, you get a lot of nice breathing channels. However, there is not a lot of reinforcement. So if you do slide a lot on a hard court, you may end up burning these up quicker than some other shoes. But on the flip side, the midsole does create this really ultra sharp, fat lateral flange that is going to give you a lot of lateral stability compared to some other shoes in its class. Now the treads on the 696 are this hybrid wave pattern, almost like you'll see on the Court FF2. They, however, are not as deep as the Court FF2. However, I did play with these on clay, and they did dig in surprisingly well. They're not the greatest clay court treads of all time. However, they will get the job done. Honestly, I found these treads to grip hard courts and clay courts much better than the Fresh Foam Lav, which is quite a bit more expensive. Now the fit of the 696 is very generous in all categories except length, where they are just a tad stubby. But with New Balance's choice of widths, these will fit just about any foot type. The only tennis player I would caution is the one that maybe has had a few stress fractures in their lifetime, as the forefoot is just a little thin in the midsole. This might not be the best shoe for that. You might want something with a little more dense midsole. Now playing in these was actually a lot of fun, especially when tracking down balls. I kind of felt like it was in one of those hovercrafts, just kind of skimming the surface of the tennis court. So stopping and starting, you're gonna have to be willing to provide your own power. These shoes are not that stout, so you're not gonna get a lot of energy return from them. However, with how light they do feel, you really can kind of get up and split step really easily. So where these shoes really shined was moving forward, straight up and down. So if you are a doubles player and want to get to the net quick, these are going to be a fantastic shoe for that. Especially with the treads of these, when you're coming up to net and split stepping, they're going to grip the court really well. So that first volley is going to feel nice and solid. So I will say, do not expect these to last as long as the Court FF2 or the Eclipsean 3. The uppers are going to start to wear down a little bit, and the treads are probably going to start to wear down a little bit as well. The midsole is going to compress. However, for just a match shoe, or if you're playing a lot of doubles especially, this is a really good pickup, especially for the price point.
I came in at 15.11 seconds on the suicide test, which was kind of a mixed bag for me, and then it was only 34 degrees when I did the test, so that's actually not a bad time. But number two, the shoes definitely do not make turns as quick as some other shoes with better foam. However, they are super light, so they glide through the air. So once again, mixed bag. What was not a mixed bag was the serve test, getting only 19 centimeters. But remember, with a shoe this light, you're going to have to make sacrifices somewhere.
And when I'm thinking about these shoes in comparison to the Solution Speeds, the Mizuno Wave Exceed Tour 4s, or the Nike Vapor 10s, I would say I think these shoes are right up there with them. The Vapor 10s have less arch support, the Solution Speeds are a more narrow flanged shoe, and the Mizunos, the midsole actually I felt was a little bit thinner in those than here in the 696. So I think of all of those shoes, I think the 696 competes right up there with all of them. I think I would definitely put these and the Vapor 10s probably at the top of that echelon. And if you have a more flat foot, I think these would be number one. If you have a more high arched foot, maybe I would go with the Vapor 10 just because they have a little bit of a better midsole foam in them. But of course, I'd love to know what you have to say about these shoes. What space do you think that these shoes fill in the modern tennis game? And of course, if you'd like to see play tests and teardowns, those other shoes I've mentioned in this video, make sure you click into the playlist here. Otherwise, hope you all have a great day, great night, wherever in the world you are tuning in from. I'll see you next time.